So a couple things about the book of James is that James is written and is believed to be written by James the Just. In other words, James, the brother of Jesus. It is written as a pastoral letter directed towards the early church. The early church was primarily people of Jewish background and Jewish heritage. So in other words, he was a Christian in the writing in the context of Jewish tradition. He knew who he was speaking to. It is also one of the earliest books written. It is before, if you read a lot of the New Testament, that has the comparison of like Jews and Gentiles and what you needed to do. All this was written before anyone was really thinking about that. And so that's going to be the time period that we want to be thinking about why and who and what James was talking about. This is not to wage war between the concept of having faith versus the concept of having works. It's actually quite the opposite is true. It is that our works are meant to be birthed out of our faith. If you want to go into a little bit further study with the book of James, so you can fall in love with the book of James like I have fallen in love with the book of James, you actually can parallel a lot of the Beatitudes of the directions of Jesus alongside the entire book of James. And so if you want to study further, I want to encourage you to do that. And yes, I believe James is sarcastic, very sarcastic. And you'll find his sarcasm in every book that he writes in the book of James. He starts this passage that we read, comparing well-wishing to actually helping. And I know, it kind of sounds harsh. Did you hear the harshness when I read it? You said this, that sounded great, but nothing happened. You said it, but nothing happened. You probably likely, if you're thinking about your own life, can think of a time that was true for you. That you said something, but didn't follow through, even if you had intentions of following through. Or because you didn't know how to follow through, or because it was not in your ability to do it, but you really did wish him well. I know I have, many, many times. And I don't want you to tune me out about what the book of James is saying about this, because I don't believe James is here to judge us or condemn us. And I don't think the book of James is even talking about judgment or condemning. But it's to challenge us to adjust our way of seeing and thinking. He's challenging the early church, and he's challenging us for an adjustment. And I think you would agree that we are called, as we follow Jesus, to be the hands and the feet of Jesus here on this earth. And maybe, just maybe, our yes, our actions, are how God is providing the answer to someone else's prayers. That maybe when we are in the right place at the right time to provide the right thing, that God will provide all that is needed. See, it's not about fixing everyone else's issues, because I can sit here and argue that all day long. Our job is not to fix the world's issues. Our job is not to fix the issues of Sacramento. Our job is simply to respond when God calls, to be the answer to the prayers or the setup for an answer, to be the hands and the feet of Jesus, is not to move on presumption, but is to move on the call of God and responding to the call of God. And if you're taking notes, that's the first point this morning, is that we are called to respond when God calls. And I want you to think about the examples that he cited. He talked about Abraham. Before Abraham was Abraham, he was Abram. But he didn't talk about when God called Abraham out of the land he knew and told him to go off to a foreign land, to the place that he was going to give his future descendants, to the Israelites. It's not what this talked about. They didn't talk about when God told Abraham and Sarah at the ripe old age around 100 that they were going to be parents that they dreamed about for so long. Then there was going to be promise within that child. James doesn't quote that. Did you hear that in the passage? I didn't hear that in the passage. But he did quote and talk about when God asked him to sacrifice his only son, his son of his old age, his son of promise. That's what he talked about. See, the other big acts of faith, Abraham might have been able to figure out some of that. He can figure out how to pitch a tent and live off the land and move to another place. He can figure out how to take care of the roof over his head and the food in his belly, right? He tried to take care of the other one. Remember Ishmael? He did attempt that one himself. That's not what he's quoted for. Abraham couldn't strategize his way around this ask. Figure out a different path of completion. All he had was his faith in God. Whether he had faith that God would provide a different sacrifice, spoiler alert, Old Testament, that is what God did, or that God would raise Isaac from the dead, or he just simply trusted that God knew what he was doing. That faith that had him walk his son up a mountain, gather kindling, put him on a place that would have been lit with fire, that faith is why he's known as the father of faith. And that faith is what James is quoting. See, Abraham's faith was made complete through his actions, responding when God called, not because he had the answers, can cross all the T's and dot all the I's. And if you're administrative, you like crossing the T's and dotting the I's. But he trusted that God was going to handle the details. He trusted the compassion of God. And then he mentions Rahab, a prostitute in Jericho. The first city that the Israelites were going to conquer for God. However, Rahab, not an Israelite. No Jewish blood found in her. She was not born into the promise. She was a woman with not the purest of professions. Not anything really too special about her, except for she heard about God. Heard what he could do and believed he actually would do it. And then she risked her life, her current livelihood, because she had faith that if she put her faith in God, he would take care of her. She backed her faith with action. And not only did her house, the portion of the wall that was her livelihood, not crumble with the entire rest of the walls around Jericho. Not only was she survived that, she also is recorded as being in the lineage of Jesus. This is the faith that James is referencing. I think it's interesting that he's talking about faith right after he's talking about the sarcasm of you saw someone, you noticed something and didn't do it. And that he's comparing this. And that's what we're going to be chatting about this morning, is how faith actually aligns with it. And the next point is that we are to examine our hearts. We're going to go back to James. Do you love James yet? I love James. James 1, verse 21. Sarcasm. So get rid of all the filth and evil in your lives and humbly accept the word God has planted in your hearts, for it has the power to save your souls. But don't just listen to God's word. You must do what it says. Otherwise, you're only fooling yourselves. For if you listen to the word and don't obey, it's like glancing at your face in a mirror. You see yourself, you walk away, and you forget what you look like. But if you look carefully into the perfect law that sets you free, and if you do what it says and don't forget what you heard, then God will bless you for doing it. If you claim to be religious but don't control your tongue, you are fooling yourself, and your religion is worthless. Pure and genuine religion in the sight of God the Father means caring for orphans and widows in their distress and refusing to let the world corrupt you. See, the perfect law referenced here is not the Ten Commandments. James was not saying, look into the Ten Commandments, you shall not murder. That's not what he's saying. What about obeying your mother and father. That's not what he was saying. The perfect law he was referencing wasn't something that you could hold up into the court of law. The perfect law he was referencing was Jesus. See, Jesus is that perfect law that sets us free. He's the perfecter of our faith. As we examine Jesus and follow him, we become more like him, reflect his image. And that is how we are set free. See, Jesus is who transforms our hearts. I can't transform my own heart. I can't fix it. I definitely can't fix your heart, because I definitely can't even fix my own heart. I can't fix my children's heart. Even though as parents, sometimes we try to. Only Jesus can transform our hearts. Only Jesus can heal our hearts. Only Jesus can transform our thoughts and our way of thinking. And see, through our heart births our actions. Where we prioritize our treasure, our time, our money, our talents, is a reflection of the condition of our hearts. I'm not talking about perfection. I'm not standing before you perfect. I'm not standing before you because what I'm talking about, I have it down to the T. What I'm telling you is, as we reflect the heart of Jesus, this is the outward expression of how that is. So what is your heart motivator? What motivates what you do? What motivates what time you wake up in the morning? What motivates where you put your time, your money, your talents? I mentioned earlier that I believe that James wasn't trying to judge or condemn us, but to challenge us to adjust our way of seeing and thinking. Challenge us and the early church to look inwards to our hearts. Because it's not about what we do on the outside. Because we can try to fake stuff. You can sign up for Compassion Week and not touch your heart whatsoever. God's not after our actions. He's after our heart. Transforming our heart. Transforming the way we think. For good works are a natural, expected expression of faith. But wait, remember, I've been talking a lot about faith and works. I thought we were talking about compassion. And this is how it connects. Our faith expressed through love is compassion in action. Our faith expressed through love is compassion in action. Or you can say that our compassion is birthed out of the love in our hearts. Jesus ministered through compassion because of his compassion. And you can go anywhere in his 3 years of ministry and go like this, and I want to talk about that one. That was motivated by compassion. The feeding of the 5,000s. Wait a minute, I thought that was to show us that he can expand food and bread and God can do that. Sure. He didn't do that to show us that God can do miracles. He didn't do miracles to show about miracles. He did that because he was staring at this magnitude of people that came to this random hillside that he just happened to come off the water to, and they all gathered, and they were hungry. And if he sent them away, a lot of them probably would have died on their way to the city to find food because they had been there for days. He didn't heal the woman that had the issue of blood because her life's been hard. Her life's been hard. I can't imagine. He healed her because of compassion. And then he stopped the progression of where he was headed towards another miracle to make sure she was fully healed. Not just her ailment, but her heart. Any part, all of it was moved by compassion. Our natural tendency is not compassion. Our natural tendencies are selfish. Even as we're growing and learning, oftentimes we're still filtering it through a selfish filter. I can fit it in here. Here's a nice little package. As much as that package can still help someone, it's missing the point. Because it's not meant to be a check mark that I check off and I did my good Christian duty. God's not after the action. He's after the heart that births the action. And I want to hear, I'm not saying that your works justify your faith, or that you need to do works to prove you have faith, or to earn your salvation. There's no way to earn salvation. It comes through Jesus Christ and Jesus Christ alone. And there is not talking about some sort of legalistic requirement weaved into any of this thought. And if your mind went there, you missed it. It's not faith versus works. It's the fruit of our faith that produces compassion in action. It's a matter of our heart and putting action to the compassion God has created within our hearts. The last point, and I'm going to invite the team up in a moment to talk about our week, is that we are to live a life of compassion. This week, we are giving lots of opportunities as our Compassion Week to put some feet to this thought. And you're like, hey, I just heard about it. You may or may not be able to do it, but I want to encourage if you can. Because it is putting feet to be in the hands and feet of Jesus here in Sacramento. And I'm going to invite Anthony Martinez up and his team. And they're going to chat about what's going on this week. It starts tomorrow, so some of the opportunities may or may not be available. And if they're talking, you're like, ooh, that one. That tab tag's right in front of you. The sign-ups are right there. If you wait too long, that opportunity may not be available because some of them are limited.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you. And then we're going to have a QR code up on the screen if you want to scan that, and you can sign up for any of these opportunities. So, hey, society. This is the third year we've done Compassion Week. What is Compassion Week, you ask? Well, thank you for asking. It's a week of serving our partners and working across the Sacramento area. We really believe as a church that serving them, it best reflects who Jesus is. And it's one way that we as a church can be a living expression of our loving God here in Sacramento. So this is something that we've done for the last 3 years, or last 2 years. This is year 3. Why these partners? Why do we choose these partners that you're going to hear about here in a minute? Well, our scope is this. We believe fundamentally that we are called to serve the widow, the orphan, the stranger here in Sacramento. And so what does that look like today in Sacramento? It's people living on the streets or people in the margins. It's women, children, and immigrants that are living on the poverty line. It's caring for animals and gardens in our neighborhood. In first service, I said caring for the Arden in it. No, it's caring for the animals and gardens in our neighborhood, but we love Arden too. It's caring for the unhoused, and really, when we go out there and we serve the unhoused, one of our prayers is that, hey, they are the sons and daughters of God. God, help us to really resonate the words that you're speaking to them, and just be your voice there. So that's our prayer for the unhoused when we go out and serve them. As a rule, we do not want to reinvent the wheel. We want to come alongside those people who are giving their lives and working in this space. They are the experts. So we come alongside them. They tell us where they need us, when they need us, and we will serve with them. Bless you. So we really want to bring volunteers into that space and help the experts really do what they do best and just add some scale to what they do. So we reached out to our partners across the city, and here are areas where they asked us to help. So first off, we have Matt speaking about the Front Street Animal Shelter. This one is Monday morning.
Thanks, Anthony. So yeah, we're going to kick off Compassion Week tomorrow at 9 a.m. It'll go to about noon. This is for anyone who is 12 years old or up. We're going to be doing whatever they need to be done in preparation for a donation drive that's happening next weekend. We're doing things like sweeping, cleaning out the animal kennels, washing windows, and any other special projects that they need. So just look forward to going alongside them and doing whatever they need us to do to help their organization.
Fantastic, fantastic. And next we have Melissa talking about Union Gospel.
Hi, everybody. This Tuesday evening, we're going to be serving at Union Gospel Mission from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Every evening, throughout the entire year, Union Gospel serves dinners to our unhoused community, and that's men, women, and children as well that come through their doors. So before we come on site to serve meals, they actually have a chapel service held by another church that comes to support them. They do a message, and they do worship as well, and then we come in. You do not need to cook. You do not need to clean. We're just coming in there, smiling, talking to some of our friends there, and then serving meals. It's kind of like cafeteria style, and we'll do that as a team. Right now, our signups are full, but if you would like to be placed on a wait list, let me know. But this is also going to be an ongoing serve. So every third Tuesday of the month from 8 to 9 p.m., you guys can come partner with them and help serve meals. Thank you.
Fantastic. Great organization. Next, we have a few for Wednesday. So the first one we're going to talk about here is Wellspring Women's Center. This is a women's center in Oak Park. They serve women and children. They serve nearly 200 women and children every day, and they offer 4 programs: a nutritious meal program, the Children's Corner program, a safety net social services, and women's wellness program. So our opportunity here is we will come in, we will help them organize some of their donations, we will help them greet, do some food prep, clean up, and assist in the Children's Corner. So that is from 8 a.m. to noon. There will also be a tour of the facility. And this is a great organization to lean into. So if this is a space you feel like, hey, I want to do more here in Sacramento, come, take some time off of work, or join us Wednesday morning. Let's volunteer here, and then this could be an organization that you volunteer with long term. Next, we have CASA. So CASA is an ongoing donation. So if you don't have time this week to serve with any of this because life gets busy, this is an opportunity where you can log on. You can sign up on the QR code. You'll receive an Amazon wish list for CASA, and then you can actually buy items and donate them directly to them. So who is CASA? CASA stands for the Court-Appointed Special Advocates. They ensure consistency and support for children in the foster care and juvenile justice systems through the use of volunteer advocates advancing the best interests of the child. So these are special advocates that work with foster kids and kids in juvenile justice to really help set them up or help develop them a little more. So it's a great organization to partner with. You can obviously donate on the website. And then in the afternoon, in the early afternoon, we have the greenhouse. And so Celeste is going to talk about the greenhouse here. Hey guys, huge blessing. It's going to be like 88 degrees. You have no excuse.
We've been there when it's much hotter. I wanted to do a little bit of a different change, and when I wanted to talk about why I started to volunteer at the greenhouse was through an event like this, and they're in need of gardening. And I'm like, I love gardening. It was an easy fit. I'll just come garden. But what ended up is that I got to learn about this organization that spends time investing in kids and families and the neighborhood of the immigrants who are there. And I loved it so much that I continue to volunteer and volunteer today in many different ways. So that's my hope too, is that you get to look at some of these organizations and find a place that you go, yeah, I love this. I just want to let you know on this day, I'm also going to be bringing a lot of power batteried tools so we can help in the gardening that is there. So if you come early, you get to pick a power tool.
I love it. Thank you, Celeste. Hey, and one more shout out for the greenhouse. This is an opportunity as well where you can bring kids. We will have activities for the kids. They can actually plant seeds and do some other things there. So if you do have younger children or anything, this is a great opportunity for them to serve alongside you. Next, we have the Ticket to Dream Foundation. This is Thursday night from 6 to 7 here at the church. So what we're going to do is on the sign up, we actually have backpacks. Hey, look at that. So our ask is for anybody who's signing up to pack from 6 to 7, please bring an empty backpack. You'll also receive a list of items that we're going to fill the backpacks with. And then that will be things like pens, highlighters, pencils, that sort of thing for foster kids going back to school. So Ticket to Dream is an organization that is dedicated to creating hope and opportunity for foster children across the nation, but specifically here in our area. So these backpacks will go to foster children going back to school here in the fall. And we'll also have another way to support them as well. So let's say you can't make it to the actual packing or something came up, you can actually come by and donate. So if you click on the QR code, we have a donation link as well. You can pick up these items here locally and drop them off here at the church starting at 5:30. Everything from backpacks to, again, pens, pencils, other school supplies, all of this will go to benefit foster children here in the Sacramento area. For anyone coming to serve, again, this is open to all ages. You can bring children, and they can serve alongside you and help prep these backpacks. Fantastic. Okay, next we have Liz talking about loaves and fishes on Friday.
Hi, everyone. So this Friday, you may have the opportunity to serve at Loaves and Fishes from 7 to 10 a.m. A little bit about Loaves and Fishes. It's Sacramento's largest homeless services nonprofit, providing meals, survival supplies, shelter programs, hygiene services, counseling, and other support to people experiencing homelessness. And they have been around since 1983, so over 40 years. They've done incredible work in the community. I've had the chance to volunteer there the last few months, and it's been extremely impactful. One, you get to see and connect with people from the last few months, which is really great and powerful. And then also, it's a good way to actively feed your neighbors and friends who are experiencing homelessness. And so, and it's also a great way to connect with people in the church who are there, and then also other volunteers. And so this Friday we'll be doing prep. And so it's a good way to help them cook the meals that they'll be serving throughout the day. So it's likely going to be a lot of chopping onions, garlic. You don't need to be a good cook to come. You just need to show up, and if you know how to use a knife, you should be fine. And so it's in the morning, so you can come before work if that's possible for you. And it's also a great entry point because Society Church partners with Loaves and Fishes. And so if you can't make it on Friday, you'll have an opportunity to serve with them every second Saturday from 10 to 1. And similar to Union Gospel, you'll be on the line and just serving the already prepared food for people who are there for meals. So it'll be a great time. Thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic. And then last but certainly not least, on Saturday morning at 8:30 in the morning, that's 8:30 sharp, we have the River City Waterway Alliance. So this is one that is near and dear to our neighborhood association here. The Marshall New Era Neighborhood Association serves very frequently with the River City Waterway Alliance. RCWA actually goes through and cleans up the rivers and tributaries in the Sacramento area. They go through, they clean up a lot of trash. So it's a lot of, you're in there, you're getting dirty. If you have waders, bring waders out, but definitely bring some boots or really shoes that are going to get dirty, and expect to get muddy, expect to get a little wet because you're in there. We're also clearing out invasive species as well. There are 2 species that are choking up some of the waterways here, so we're going to go through and clean some of those up and clear those up for the salmon runs. That's from 8:30 to 11:30. I know it says, if you map it on the location, it says to a house. That's just the closest location to the entrance to the river. So 8:30 to 11:30 at West El Camino. And it's going to be a great opportunity. But hey, thank you guys. Really appreciate the time. Really appreciate everyone who's coming out and serving. And I'm going to hand it back over to Pastor Jen.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Especially thank you for Anthony and Francis Martinez. They are over our compassion ministry and have worked tirelessly for it. I will tell you, I went online to see where the signups were while they were talking. Union Gospel is full, as they mentioned, but a couple of the other ones only have a couple spots left. So if there's a spot that was really on your heart, I recommend multitasking and listening to me and go on there so you can reserve your spot. If a spot that is full by the time you get there and you'd really would love to participate, connect with Anthony and he'll let you know if it's one that might have some wiggle room on numbers or not. Unfortunately, Union Gospel does not, so don't all run over there for that. But be ready to start signing up starting next month for it. Isn't it awesome to do it together? Yes. Awesome. And there's no judgment if you can't do it this week, but if you can, let's jump in and do it together as a community. I do want to say it's not about piling more stuff into your busy life. If that's what I was talking about today, I would be telling you to ignore everything Pastor Sean has been saying for the last month. Rest is an important part of our life. It's not about piling on more to what you're already doing. It's about allowing God to rework the patterns that you do in your life so that you as an individual, that I as an individual, your neighbor sitting next to you as an individual can reflect Jesus in what we say and we do. It's about living a life of compassion. And this is the challenge I want to leave with you to really process and mull over is, are there actions or mindsets that you have prioritized in your own life that don't reflect Jesus? But maybe they're reflecting busyness or culture or tradition or just something your family's always done, or reflecting something else, but it's not reflecting Jesus and it's eating up your time. As we examine our own hearts and our own lifestyles, what are the biggest blockages that are stopping you from living a life of compassion? Living a life that reflects Jesus. And we're going to be transitioning in a moment to our communion, but I want you to hear one more passage from James, because secretly I'm hoping you fall in love with the book. James 3:13. If you are wise and understand God's ways, prove it by living an honorable life, doing good works with the humility that comes from wisdom. Wisdom. There's a method to it. Not overwhelmingness, not busyness, not doing anything you can get your hands to. That comes from wisdom. God's wisdom guides us. His teaching, His compassion. And I want you to sit with that. Process it. Examine your lifestyle. Examine what your family does as a whole if you're a parent. And if you have a grown-up parents and grandkids, it still counts. Examine what is going on in your sphere of influence. Is it aligned with the Word of God, aligned with Jesus? Or is it filled with a lot of noise? I want to encourage you to stand with me.